May God please help you to be well and be safe and be good. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. I love you.
Welcome to the Dirty Disciples podcast. And I've actually decided to do a new sort of initiative. I mean, if you want to call it that. I listen, if I want to be creative with it, then I suppose I have to give it a name. But there is no name. I'll just call it Dirty Discipleship Conversations. And really, what I'm going to be doing is having conversations with people that I really like for whatever reason. Maybe I've got a relationship with them, maybe I look up to them, or whatever the case is. I'm going to get them on here, have a conversation with them, and hopefully people benefit from it. If not, hopefully we're challenged, or it's entertaining at the very cheapest least. Hopefully it's more than that. So today I've got an absolute privilege to have a conversation with somebody that's actually a close friend of mine. He is a bit crazy, but he is an inspiration in a very unique way. And we're actually going to be talking about fatherhood because, yeah, I suppose I'm in a phase of life where that's an important conversation to have. So without further ado, help me welcoming my friend. You could call him Jason, you can call him Molebatsi, call him Mo, or call him John Doe. Bro, do you want to turn on your camera and your mic and just say hi to everyone who's listening?
Sanbonani Dumelang Apsheni, hello.
Hello, Takalani Sesame. How you doing, bro? No complaints, man. No complaints. No complaints. Just happy for some rest. Looking to get back.
Team winning.
Hey, listen. Always. So Mo, first thing I want to say thank you so much for honoring my invite. I'm doing a new initiative within this banner, Dirty Discipleship. 30 Disciples. Is that me forgetting what it's called? But I'm doing a new sort of initiative under that banner. I'm just going to call it Dirty Discipleship Conversations. Really, the premise, if I have to be real with you, the premise behind starting Dirty Disciples was this idea that, firstly, discipleship is a teacher-student relationship. And you can look at it from either side, really, And so I thought every facet of life has got a teacher-student relationship, whether you're looking at work, whether you're looking at family, whether you're looking at faith, anything, you're going to find teacher-student relationships. And the unique thing is this: each and every one of us are teachers and students in some sense or another. So it's so important for me to just look at it that way. And then the reason why I would call it Dirty Disciples or Dirty Disciples, the reason why it's called the Dirty Disciples podcast is because I think that discipleship is kind of dirty. It's very difficult. It's not an easy thing to get right. So I'm going to be getting people on here, just having conversations. So thank you so much, firstly, for honoring this invite.
I didn't know we were doing this. I thought we were joining a cult, so I'm kind of disappointed, but it's also fun.
It is kind of a cult, minus sex abuse or abuse of any nature, and nobody's gonna die. So it's kind of a tame cult. So yeah, welcome to the cult.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So Jay, let me kick it off by asking you a simple question, man. What are you passionate about in this season of your life?
So I think the main thing that I'm very passionate about now is just being a present father. I think especially in our community, one of the common things that are there is that a dad can be there, but they're not present. So I think I'm very intentional right now about not just being obsessed with that. I'm a father, but just being present in his life, my son's life, and like I'm if you say, hey, let's hang out, I'm bringing him along. I want him to be a part of my life as much as I'm a part of his, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's my biggest passion project right now.
So somebody's listening to this, not necessarily aware of your family dynamic. Do you want to just briefly unpack
Yeah.
that for us? You refer to the fact that you're a father. What does that look like?
Mm.
What does
I
that look
mean, like when how I grew up, I was raised by a single mom, you
like?
know,
Mm.
obviously other people might not know that, you know, and my dad was in and out of my life. So he wasn't really present. And yeah, and then God, you know, in his humor, um, allowed me to be a father. And, you know, now it's kind of like ironic because it's like no one taught me how to do this thing, but I gotta do it the best way I can, you know. And I think I'm kicking ass. Excuse my language, but I
Dirty
think I'm doing a good
disciples.
job.
It's not, listen, keep it real.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, so that's the biggest thing where I think a lot of the time, you know, I remember my best friend was like, "Oh, happy Father's Day to us because we raised ourselves." And I was
Oh,
like,
wow.
"Yeah, pretty much. That was pretty much it because." There were no male role models to tell us what to do, so we kind of teach each other things, and those weren't necessarily the correct things, you know.
That's
So
power. That's
yeah,
power.
man.
So I want to jump in deeper into this idea of showing up as a dad. But before we get there, uh, tell us a bit about your son, which I mean, I know him. I've made him
Yeah,
cry more than once, so I think he knows me too.
yeah. So
Just tell us a bit more about your son, like whatever
sure.
you want to share. You don't have to tell us his ID number.
Yeah, yeah. My lady might kick my butt for that, you know. So Zai is 5 years old, turning 6 next year. He's about to start grade R. Loves soccer, you know him, super energetic, always running around. Um, Introverted, but when he's around people he's familiar with, he gets out of his shell, you know. So that's pretty much Zai in a nutshell, you know. Growing, it's a journey. It's good. Also discovering him as time goes, you know, because he's fairly young. So it's yeah, it's a walk, it's a journey.
Very, very true. You know, that I want to keep it real with you, man. It's so interesting watching Zai, your son, grow up. Because the more I see him, you guys have so many similarities. He's like you've mentioned,
Mm,
highly energetic. He's a go-getter. I think you guys are very similar in that sense. You get stuff, like you just go and do stuff. Don't really think too much. Because you know, some people get stuck in that process of thinking. I think you guys just go out and do stuff. And then he's quite emotional in a subtle way. It's not obvious at first, but he's quite an
mm,
emotional, and I don't mean that in a negative way at all. I mean like he's so in tune with his feelings. I mentioned earlier that I made him cry one time. You guys were visiting, so whoever's watching this, these guys are visiting us, and I'm pretty sure I can't remember oh, I remember. Yes, Zai came in true baby fashion. I mean, he jumped on my couch, and me being a black father or black uncle at the time,
mm.
I wasn't gonna have it. So I was like, hey, I gave him a proper scolding. And he just became sad and went and cuddled his mom. And you know what I really found fascinating is he started to express what he was feeling. And then they were having this
Mm,
dialogue, like, oh, yeah, what happened? It's no, Uncle Yesh said this, blah, blah, blah. And it was
mm,
so interesting because I thought, you know, when I was watching I realized something very fascinating. I thought, for me growing up, we didn't have that. We didn't have this thing where
yeah.
if you are sad, you're told go make tea, go fetch this
Mm,
thing, go do this thing. It's like
yeah.
they give you an action, like an activity to do that takes your
Mm.
mind
I
off
think
feelings.
that's the one thing, like in a weird way, I look up to him, even though he's so small, is that like he can express his emotions, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
He
yeah.
doesn't, harbor on what happened, or kind of like you were saying, how we grew up, it was like something happens, okay, you just move on. Nobody talks about it. Nobody gives you the opportunity to
Yeah.
express yourself. Where he if he's not happy in that moment or he's hurt, he'll take time to sit down and he'll do introspection to figure out what's really going on. Why am I feeling like this? Where I don't know. I personally don't do that. So
Yeah.
I kind of like admire his courage for putting his feelings out there like that.
That's
Where
powerful.
you know me, I'm sensitive, but to do that, it's not as easy.
Yeah.
Because you know me, you've seen me in that element of Mo is actually touched.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, let's go there. That actually segues me exactly where I wanted to go, which is how I know you. Now, anyone who's watching this who doesn't know the both of us, I imagine there'll be a lot of people who are watching this who know the both of us. But for anyone who maybe stumbles on this, doesn't know the both of us, we are friends. Actually, we're very close friends. I would say that Molebatsi is one of my best friends. And yeah, even how we've come to know each other, I mean, I won't even go down that route. It's really, I don't think in 10 lifetimes we'd end up being friends 10 out of 10.
But
It's just,
it's crazy.
yeah, honestly, I really feel like it's God who brought us together. And we're different. We're not really the same beyond just being Botswana. Really, too. It's like,
Yeah,
we wouldn't say that we have much in common in that sense. However, I mean, I find so much joy in our friendship because we're different, but I also feel like we can connect in just a real way. And I actually wanted to say this, that what's fascinating for me is if I look at all my friends through our youth and growing up, number one in our friendship circle, if somebody had asked like who's going to get married first and become a father, and your name would have not been first. I'm not going to
absolutely
say it
not.
would have been last, but I'm not going to not say it wouldn't have been last.
But no, you're right. You're right.
That's the first thing. So no one pegged you to be married first. No one pegged you to be a father first. In fact,
100%.
I think for a lot of us, we thought like, if like who's like when you go to when you do school yearbooks or whatever, and most likely to
Mm.
succeed, most likely we're
Yeah,
talking about like marriage and fatherhood. I'm sure a lot of people might have voted most likely not to succeed. Um, what's
yeah.
crazy is that for me, when we became friends, I would have described you as being a wild man, especially when it came to ladies. So it's really fascinating to watch the journey that you've walked. I'm not just uh,
Thank
necessarily,
you.
no problem. I'm not necessarily just saying this because you're a guest here and I have to say this or whatever, but I
Yeah.
easily put you top five out of my favorite fathers that I personally know in person. You're definitely on my top five list, and I'll
Sure.
tell you why. Because you are less likely to succeed in the sense that you didn't have that. And when I watched you, I thought, geez, man. And then how you became a father, I don't know if you want to even get into those circumstances, but it was hectic. As your friend, I thought, ooh, man, I was secretly worried. I know I'm not the only one. But watching you over the last 5 years, I've learned so much. I've just stepped into fatherhood myself. And I promise you, I take so many pages out of your book. So it's quite fascinating to me. It gets my brain turning where I go, how does someone who didn't have this go on to do it so well? Because I think you're a great father. And you say you're not an emotional guy, but it's really fascinating to watch how your son pulls that out of you. Like it's like you're able to push him to be super athletic, but you're also able to connect with him on an emotional level. So it speaks to that showing up that you were referring to. Let's get into that more. Firstly, first question I want to ask is like, what what was you spoke a bit about not having a father, right?
Yeah.
So what was that like for you? Do you have a father? Do you guys have what if yes,
Yeah.
if no, no, if yes, do you have a relationship? What is that like?
Yeah. No, I mean, my dad is alive, right? Like I've known him for several years. I knew him until I was like 10, and then he disappeared for a while. Then I saw him again when I was 21. And then more recently I've seen him again, in my later years. So but now he's quite sickly. But I think yeah, it was pretty weird because you know it's better. Sometimes I think it's better to almost know that if he's gone, he's gone. Right? But for me, it was always like I was living life knowing that he's alive, which messed me up even more because it's like how this guy like he knows where I stay. He can get a hold of me. He's choosing not to, which is kind of like the probably what causes a lot of childhood trauma. But
Yeah.
yeah, so my but I think what's crazy now, I was telling someone that, the older you get, the more you start to kind of like have a bit of sympathy because I can only imagine somebody. So my dad is from the Cape Flats, right? And you know, I, they our parents grew up in pretty much towards the end of apartheid. So I can only imagine the dysfunction in the families back then. So I kind of almost have some sympathy for him. And like now I'm not as angry as I used to be because I'm like, not that I understand, but I can only imagine what he went through. How do you become a father in a dysfunctional society when your dad isn't present? How do you become present and become a father? So there's those dynamics that I've come to understand. And yeah, I think I also thank God, for the journey of walk because then I've learned more about grace, about forgiveness, true forgiveness, and not holding on to that bitterness of someone not being present. So yeah, bro, it's not easy. I'm not gonna say to you it's perfect and I'm fully restored and they they are days where you go through that thing and be like, but why did you leave? There are times where I visit my dad now and I'm thinking, I want to ask certain questions and he doesn't answer them the way I would like.
Mm.
But I was
Jeez, that's so
I was
deep,
speaking
man.
to yeah, I was speaking to someone about that. I was like, yeah, he left, and there was a day I asked him about like why did like hey you went around, and he was like no because your mom took you away. And in that conversation, this person was saying that, sometimes forgiveness is forgiving the person without expecting that they will apologize, So you're almost taking away that burden off of your shoulder because they will never apologize the way you want them to apologize. They'll never come to the understanding that you want them to get to because they're not you. So yeah, bro, that's where I'm at. And I'm thankful that now in my dad's, um I think they might be his last days. I'm thankful that I got to know him, I got to forgive him, and we at a good place, and yeah, I think I'm so grateful, bro, because I think had I not known him, I would have carried on, or had I not gotten to this point, I would have carried a lot of bitterness. And, yeah, that's what I can say about that. And I think even in that, it allows me to build a better relationship with my son,
Mm.
you know.
That's interesting. The one, the
So
one,
yeah,
the one standout thing that you say there, that is like, I think relevant to anyone. It's not even limited to fatherhood, is this idea that forgiveness is being able to sit with a person, ask them that question that has even weighed you down for decades or years or however long, or that has a heavy weighting in your life, And forgiveness is being okay with the fact that they may not answer you in the way that you desire. They may not even be prepared to open up about the things you want them to
Yeah.
open up about. Um, that's really profound. Now, just name a few of these if you can think of any. What are some of your biggest challenges as a father?
Money, like you can never have enough money, right? And I
Money
think
and
you just wanting the best time. Feel like time as well, like, or let me rather say like quality time. Because
oh
sometimes you can spend time with someone, but you're not getting the quality time.
yeah.
So I think money, time, and yeah, I think those are the main ones, especially time. I think I wish I just had more time, more days, more hours in a day to spend with my son, to give him quality time, not the time where, sometimes you're with someone, but you're exhausted.
Mm. I know
Yeah, so
exactly what
like
you mean.
yeah,
Every day,
like you,
every evening that I come home, it's like I'm fighting two battles, which is I'm exhausted, I've got goals to achieve, and then my family still needs me. And so it's kind of difficult to balance that. And then also I'm a human, so sometimes I'm not in that mindset where I just maybe want to do silly things like watch soccer. Since I've been a dad, I haven't been able to watch a game from start to finish.
I never understood what, my lady meant when she said, like, and you don't spend quality time with me. And I'm like, and this was like post-COVID, so we were with each other every day. Saying like, yeah, I was working from home, she wasn't working at the time. And I was like, I'm with you every day. What do you mean not
Yeah.
spending time with you? But she meant like actually engaging, having a conversation, not just being in each other's presence. So I'm like, yeah,
Yo, that's so profound. Now, and I took the long way around to get here, but this is what I want to ask now. Early on, right at the beginning of our conversation, you mentioned what you are most passionate about, which is showing up as a father. So tell us, or certainly tell me, what does that look like for Mo and Zai? How do you show up as a father?
I think number one is I think it's so easy for sometimes to get to a point where you just want to do the things that you like with the person you like. Like sometimes it's about like doing what he likes, even though I might not like it. Like today we had to go to the shops to look for batteries so that he
Mm,
can play on his laptop that he doesn't even like playing on, that he probably is going to play for 2 seconds. But that's what he wants to do in that moment. So I kind of
mm,
have to indulge him on that. So I think, yeah, just doing what he likes doing. And yeah, and then obviously there's things that we both have common ground, like soccer, feel like kicking the ball, can kick the ball, playing swimming. So yeah, that's the main thing, I guess, just getting to a place that we do things that we likes doing. And I think I was watching it's like a documentary on like Lewis Hamilton, and the father at the end was kind of saying that a lot of parents just throw their kids into sports and hoping that their kids will just become these Project Mbappe's. And it's like you got to get to a point where you understand what your kid is good at and what they like before you can get them to a point of excelling in a sport or whatever. So that's why I'm just like letting him be free to explore who he is and what he's going to do.
mm. And then God willing, your son will be your age in the future, and God willing, you are still alive and in his life and having an even better relationship than the amazing relationship you guys share right now. what do you want your son at your age to know about you and him? Maybe how you feel about you and him, your relationship together. Let's say he sees this
Yeah.
in,
I think I want him just to know that, whatever he's going through, it's okay. Um, to go through that. You know, I think you've also seen over the last couple of years of marriage that you feel like you're losing your mind, kind of, and in moments you don't have somebody just to say, yes, it's okay, or you can call me, but I might not give you the answers you want to hear at the time, or I might not give you the comfort you want to hear. But in retrospect, it's okay to go through what you're going through, and you're gonna get through it. Number two, I want him to know that I love him, like, regardless of whatever happens. He's still my son, and I'll always be there for him. Yeah,
that's powerful, man.
getting me emotional, yes.
Nah, no, that's hey, you get emotional. But that's really powerful. I think it's so necessary, man. My son at the time of recording this is 3 months old, and every morning I try to, if he's awake, I try to have a conversation, a brief conversation with him before I leave the house, with the understanding that, hey, listen, tomorrow's not promised. I don't know if I'm coming back. So I often just think, what would I like to say to him if he's awake? And one of the things I like saying to him is I like to tell him that, hey, I just want you to know that I'm here and you're not alone. So you might not even understand what I'm talking about right now, but 20, 30, maybe even 15, 10 years time, you'll be going through stuff that your dad understands. Doesn't mean I'm the like the wisest person to speak to. And it's not really even about what I'm going to tell you, just the fact that I'll be there for you to talk to. And I'm here for anything you need. You want a hug, I'll give you a hug. You just wanna go for a quiet drive, then I'm there. I'm your guy. I mean, if you cover the petrol, I'm there with you. Whatever. I'm just, you know what I'm saying? It's just this idea. So I think it's really powerful. Last thing that I want to ask you is, without a doubt, man, there's going to be people who are listening to this who are fathers, need fathers, are thinking about becoming fathers, maybe need to sort out some stuff with their own fathers. Anything you want to say to any one of those people, it doesn't have to be everyone, it can be the one that resonates most with you. What do you have to say to anyone who's listening?
So I think I'd probably want to speak to people who are, wrestling with the idea of, ironically enough, it's the day of reconciliation today. Like, just wrestling with that idea of forgiveness. I'd say it's not so much about them. It's more about you. About you getting healing, getting over whatever hurdle you are going through right now. And I think sometimes we take for granted the the extent that childhood trauma can have on us. You might be in traffic one day, and you're the normal you wouldn't necessarily swear at someone, get
Yeah,
out and wanna fight someone, but you do because there's these things that happen in your subconscious, that you don't register. And you're not going for therapy, you're not going for counseling, and guess it comes out in the wrong way. So yeah, for me, I would say, like, rather deal with the situation head on. Don't don't run from it, because the more you run from it, the worse it becomes, and that it will catch up with you in your latter years. So I'd say, yeah, man, get to a point where you heal, not for them, but for yourself. So that's the main thing. Those are the people I probably want to speak to, because I am that person still going through it. I was telling you, I'm still going to counseling now. And you, like you said, the Jay you met at the beginning of our friendship isn't necessarily somebody who would go for therapy, but I'm going for it because now I understand what the benefits of it. And in going there now, I have to face these things, you know, of like living in a
Mm.
fatherless home, you know, the impact that it had on me and how it kind of resonates in the relationship I have with my partner, like without me even realize, you know, and dealing with it benefits not just my relationship with my father, but my relationship with my son, the relationship I have with my partner, you know, my mother, my friends, etc. So, yeah.
That's really, really powerful. I hope somebody benefits from this. I definitely benefit from it. And you know what? Well done, man. Well done for going for counseling. You know, I go for counseling myself. And thank you for your friendship. It's really cool if you have friends that can make fun of you because Molebatsi, guys, don't even be taking him too seriously. If you see him sounding all emotional in this interview, because
You said I'm top five, one of the
yeah,
best
as a
fathers you
parent, but
know.
he's a
So
clown. He always makes fun of me when I'm being serious about stuff. Even when I invited him to do an interview with me. He thought I was doing a network. What do they call those things? Those permits meetings. I'm like,
network business,
seriously, those are the type of friends I keep. But anyway, what I would say is that get yourself friends that encourage you to talk about these things. Remember, guys, discipleship is dirty. It's not an easy thing, and like I just really am anti anybody who tries to convince you otherwise. Don't compare yourself to other people. And this is really just about stimulating these types of conversations. I'm looking forward to having future conversations with you, Mo, on this particular platform. Really praying that everything that you're working on in relation to your family, in relation to your marriage, in relation to your fatherhood, in relation to your businesses or business endeavors, your career. I hope all of that stuff prospers. Yeah, just praying for the best. And to everybody who's tuned in and listened to this, thank you so much for tuning in. Uh, guys, I have super amazing guests lined up. And we're just going to keep it real. A
you
discipleship
guys.
is dirty. I just want to say that.
I'm probably bottom of the barrel. Yeah.
There we go again. I told you he was going to be on his clownish ways. But yeah, I've got amazing guys lined up. And we're going to have conversations about everything. About everything. If there's anything in particular you want to talk about, let me know. Mo, what should we talk about? You can contribute to one of the topics in future. You can leave us with that.
I think I would kind of like be interested because you have some like friends in the entertainment industry. So I'd kind of like to hear how people balance they walk with Christ in the entertainment industry. That would be
Wow.
an interesting topic.
Wow, they already have one person lined up who's going to talk about that, and I have a few else in mind. So yeah, well, look out for that. We're going to be talking about any and everything. No topic is of discussion. We're not experts. We're just people having a conversation. Again, show some love or not, whatever. Let me know what you guys want us to talk about. Yeah,
Just like this video and don't subscribe.
yeah, what he said, all that good stuff. I'm pretty sure I have nothing to go and change right now. Mo, thanks again for joining me, bro. Have a blessed evening for you at the
Yes.
gym, nah?
Yep. Sorry about
I,
that.
I was saying, are you at the gym?
Next time I'll be in a suit. Yeah, I said sorry about that. Next time I'll be in a suit.
No, I'm not. I'm not in a suit. I'm in my heart colors. But
You're
anyway,
in uniform.
yeah, facts. That's straight facts. Well, thanks, Mo, for joining in, dude. I really appreciate it. I am going to see you because I see you all the time
The
anyway.
pleasure.
I'll see you soon. Shout out. Peace, bro.
Peace.